Episode 2, A Meeting with the Lord. The other side of the portal is so beautiful that I nearly start to cry. Pink flowers grow riotously. Large plants emit soft light from their nodding heads. Everything is vibrant with fresh color, redolent with new smells. And the gentle greens and browns of the woods are beautiful, but this is something else all entirely. I take a long, fortifying draft of the heaty air. What do you think? It's a wonderland. I'm brought back vividly to my early years, to the stories I lost myself in during my youth, the enchanted woods, Discworld, Narnia, magic everywhere, made large with the infinite possibility of childhood imagination. I lost that magic somewhere along the way. Even when I entered the pub and realized how wrong I was, that sense of wonder did not return. Something in my soul sparks a small stubborn light that is dimmed almost to nothing. Stranded in these woods swaddled in magic, I feel that light begin to grow. Albert's attention makes me self-conscious. I shake away the feeling and attempt to regain some of my professional air. I've never been in the area of supernatural realms like this. Albert's hand rests lightly on the handle of his knife, studying the trees. I forget sometimes how striking it is all to a fresh pair of eyes. The actual topography of the area, the river, the bridge, the land is almost identical to the mundane realm. It just all seems bigger, grander, and I dare not even blink for fear that it might vanish. Don't worry, you get used to it. Albert jerks his head to the path leading deeper into the forest. Come on, we can't keep his lordship waiting. It's difficult to shake off this sense of wonder. I feel it over my shoulders like a warm blanket. Actually, I do feel something, a pressure all over, like full body pins and needles. What's going on? I feel a little tingly. Oh, no. Before I can ask what he's talking about, my body is enveloped in glittering firefly light. Oh, outfit time? Autumn's beauty, summer's blessing, buy all clothes. There's only 3 of them. Spring is free. Autumn. Summer. I like summer, it's pretty. But I'll stick with spring. I'm happy with this. I stretch my hands out and examine my new clothing. Should have warned you about that. These kinds of glamours and illusions happen. Is it dangerous? Albert pauses in thinking about it, then shakes his head. What you might do under fairy influence can be dangerous. The illusions themselves aren't. He looks at me more closely, studying my face. Suits you. I feel like a fairy. Some warning would have been nice. I mean, it's beautiful, but the material is silk to the touch, sinfully comfortable, and my consternation melts into pleasure as I smooth my hands over the fabric. Albert appreciates your caution. You can leave it at that, it's beautiful. The trees are so much larger than in the mundane realm. Albert's keen stare searches, expecting an ambush from any trunk or burrow. Safe to say we're expected. It'll be a little bit of a walk to the court, or you're gonna be fine. I test my transformed shoes against the ground. Despite being low, soft slippers, they're warm and sturdy, and I'm unable to feel the ground through them. I'll be fine. Let's get moving. The path winds and curves through the landscape. We forge across streams and push through passages grown thick with bushes. The journey invigorates me. I feel my heart thumping in my chest, not with fear or overexertion, as it might in the city, but simple joy. Magic lays thick over this place. Heady and sweet, pink and purple blossoms bloom all around, mingling with the luscious verdant green of the trees, the grass, the plants. I hardly take notice of how long we travel. I've just begun to acclimate a thin sheen of sweat when, as if sensing my need, the forest opens to reveal a glittering lake. We're not alone. A winged woman sits on a fallen branch, chatting happily with a group of women standing waist deep in the water. What are those? Undines. Never seen one before? Not like that. I absently rubbed the material of my watch. Sammy, what are Undines? Undine. Water spirits that often take the form of beautiful women. They reside in forest pools and waterfalls, but can be found in any water source. Paracelsus described them as invisible spiritual counterparts of visible nature. Alongside gnomes, sylphs, and salamanders, they represent the 4 classical elements. Are they dangerous? More popular versions, such as mermaids or sirens, can lead sailors to their doom with their song. Undine are also noted for their beautiful voices. It is said that if an Undine falls in love with a human male, she will gain a soul, but is doomed to die if he is ever unfaithful. I glance at Albert, brows raised. Is that true? Half true. Like most popular myths, they're not dangerous, for the most part. How comforting. In Das Wunderwischen, the offspring of an Underdine and human. Thank you, Sammy. I think that's all the relevant information we'll need for now. Don't worry. They won't try anything while you're with me. As we watch, the winged woman suddenly notices our presence. I expect her to run and hide, but instead she beams and waves. We've been spotted. Better go over. We don't want to be rude before we're even arrived at court. We circle the lake and join the small group. Hello, you must be the fellow knight that Albert called in. Good lord, does everyone know about me? It's a small village, and an even smaller court. Word travels. The pixie nimbly leaps off the branch and sinks, wings fluttering to the ground. Lucky me, getting to be the first to meet you. She extends a hand draped in gossamer green and beams again. I'm Glim. Welcome to the forest. She's unguarded to a fault. Part of me finds her charming, another, more bitter part, mistrust. Shake her hand. Her hand is warm, like the sun on a cloudless summer's day. Her grip is gentle, but not weak. Her fingers flex once the touch breaks, trying to regain that warmth. There. We're friends now. That's right. We're not alone here. I turn my attention to the placid women immersed in the lake. Greetings, human. Rest and be welcome. Tammy was right. Their voices are honey in my ear, relaxing me in just a few syllables. You are to meet our lord today. We're on our way to his court right now. You are on the right path. She extends an arm, glistening with moisture, further into the wood. Her dress shimmers and gleams in symmetry with the water. Have you met him? He lingers by the lake on occasion. He speaks to us of our concerns. Sounds like a good lord. The Undines do not comment any further. Their movements and their speech flow and shift with smooth, hypnotic grace. Care you to tarry a while? We wish to learn of this new power. This gives me pause. Are they referring to me as the new power? Much like legends of water nymphs and pixies, the pub's true nature is obfuscated by stories and myths. What they actually know and what is true may be very different indeed. We really should get going. Isla. Yes, Lord Orion has his temper. I'm sure they're right. Still, the water looks so inviting, and my feet desperately need a break. Keep away from the water. Dip your feet into the water. I toe off my shoes and move towards the lake, relishing the feeling of the soft grass underfoot. Isla, we really do. I'll be fine, Albert. We can just say we got a little turned around. I lower myself to the water's edge and let my feet dangle in the water. Our new friends aren't going to tell on us, are they? Of course not. Glim practically jumps to join me. Soon her feet are dangling next to mine, lightly splashing with each cheerful swing. We shall keep your secrets, Sir Knight. God preserve me. Albert keeps his boots on as he sits away from the water, propping his back against a nearby tree. 10 minutes, then we move on. Aye, aye, Captain. Despite Albert's reservation, the atmosphere is convivial. I realized just how sore my feet had been from the forest trek once they're immersed. Oh, what a lovely pool. The temperature's perfect. Thank you. We strive to make our home welcoming. Their gentle, flowing speech is too relaxing. I have to fight not to slump onto the grass and surrender all composure. It's nice, isn't it? I like coming to this spot when I have some time. I had wondered about that. You do seem to live very... What's the political word? I haven't yet seen anything like a building, never mind an actual village. Simply, I'm not used to so much nature. Is there any other way to live? It is you mundane ones who cut yourselves off from the world. A barb is delivered gently, with no venom, but stings nonetheless. Yeah, no, she's not wrong. Air-conditioned offices and heated apartments don't exactly keep one in touch with the natural world. Gosh, I can't even imagine. What do you do if you want to feel the wind or walk in the grass? Are you stuck in your boxes? No, well, not really, sort of. What I meant was that I wouldn't have thought you led very busy lives in the forest. Oh no, there's always plenty to do. I've got lots of tasks. My friends here are very busy keeping the water clear. Indeed. The Undines, now that I look at them more closely, are very elemental. Their bodies melt into the water, becoming one with whatever they touch. Your frantic ways are not for us, human. We live, and in living we do what we are meant to do. Albert huffs out of breath. He's fully reclined against the tree, legs stretched out in front of him. It's a nice way of putting it. Do you disagree, Sir Knight? Not at all. We each have our duties. Some are born into them, some are given, and some choose them of their own free will. Duties all the same. The conversation falls away at this remark. I mull it over for a bit, watching the splash and ripple of the water. Well, thank you for what you do. All of you. The Undine smile, Glim beams, even Albert smirks a little. Now, if I sit here much longer, I might just go to sleep. My lingering worry that the Undines might be malicious kind of water spirit vanishes as I withdraw my feet from the water. They let me leave with those same wan smiles. Your lord won't like to be kept waiting too long, I'm sure. No, he is severe against those who do not respect his authority. Safe travels, Sir Knight, Lady Knight. It was a gift to share this moment. The pleasure was all mine, ladies. I wiped my feet dry on the soft grass and pushed my slippers back on. Finally. Don't act like you didn't enjoy it. Albert doesn't respond, but I see he's hiding a smile. We set off down the path, waving goodbye to our new acquaintances. Glim watches us until we disappear amongst the trees and flutters off on her own errands, too. How would you know if we went out of distance before seeing her supernatural realm, Orion's Court? The path soon brings us to Orion's Court. For all my fancies, I'm still surprised by what I discover. At first glance, it seems ruined. Ivy, moss, flowers grow with wild abandon over the marble and stone. A second look disproves those initial assumptions. The architecture beneath it is well kept, indeed, it's incredible quality. Whoever created these buildings was a master, not just of design, but of warfare. These walls could, and maybe have, lasted centuries. Winged figures flutter about on their own errands, some holding spears and wearing leather armor walk just carefully from their positions. Smaller creatures, goblins, brownies, scuttle along their own paths. So this is the Fairy Lord's court. I thought it'd be harder to get here. Orion's expecting us. If he wanted to keep us away, the past would have been less accommodating. Albert is paying close attention to everything around us, seemingly finding no immediate threats. He allows himself to relax. You'll need to know the proper greetings. Fairies are easily insulted. Bow when you meet Orion. Address him by his full title, Lord Orion of the Deep Woods, Day's Warden, Night's Guide. Okay. And, cherry on top? Don't joke, either. If you even smile, he may take offense. I don't know what the hell's he's planning. But we need him to like us, I'm aware, Albert. Good. So do that, say that, and then stand and look him straight in the eye. He'll respect it as a sign of equals. Etiquette is endlessly varied in Supernatural realm. It's part of what makes my work so very tiring. The constant walking on eggshells, fearing that an ill-chosen word might ruin all the goodwill you've painstakingly built up. Have you met... Listen, I know it's the mundane world, but have you met us too? Go on social media. Anyway, too many cases have been spoiled that way, and of course, silence is no better. I shake myself from that gloomy train of thought before I get too distracted. The long hall we are shown into bears the unmistakable air of authority. A man who I assume must be Orion sits elevated among the common folk on a throne of dark wood. Behind him stretch the boughs of a breathtakingly enormous tree, its limbs piercing through the roof into the sky. Finely dressed fairies stand and talk in groups. Around them, pixies flutter, brownies scurry, and serving the lesser nobility about the hall. There's a lot to see, but it's Orion that catches my attention. His features are fine, beautiful, composed into a stony mask. Lithe body, silky hair, elegant clothes, and behind it all, the wings, the great blue wings fluttering in the light. Everything, from the throne to the clothes to the posture, emanates regality and power. When he speaks, it's like a self-assuredness of knowing that everyone will stop and listen. Ah, there's Glim. I had to add the cutscene, because why not? I leave Parallel Universes Bureau. I've brought her. She stands in your court under my protection. Orion nods minutely. A flick of two fingers bids me approach. I cross the room and halt before his throne, then I bow. Oh, come on now. Nice Warden. I lift my head and meet his eyes and smile. His head cocks to the side, studying me closely, attentively, yet somehow also bored. Hardness in his gaze tells me I've already made some error. Yeah, well, you may rise, human. His hand sweeps gracefully out along the three figures standing nearest his throne. I didn't know it was going to be time. Leave me alone. Lord Rowan, ambassador to those who gallop, satyrs, fawns, centaurs, minotaurs. A man with long blonde curls bows in greeting where I friendly smile. He looks directly past me at Albert. A pleasure. Lord Angus, ambassador to those who walk, brownies, goblins, redcaps, leprechauns. A keen-eyed man with slick hair turns his hand, palm up, barely bothering to dip his head. Well met. And last, Lady Violet, ambassador of those who fly, pixies, nixies, sprites, and fairies. The voluptuous woman curtsies with a rustle of silk. Hail, strangers. Welcome to our court. Behind Lady Violet, I notice a familiar face. One of Orion's attendants. She might have mentioned that. Something to think about later. For now, Orion is speaking. Do you like your gift, human? His eyes flicker over the clothes I currently wear. You did this. One should not meet a king without proper attire. Well, then why didn't you change Albert? He's smirking. Something pings in the back of my mind. This is a test, and I'm not sure about what. These clothes. I go with they're beautiful. Of course they are. I've pleased him, or amused him at least. He's satisfied with your response. Beautiful creatures should be adorned beautifully. Thank you. His chin comes to rest on one fist. His eyes haven't left me since I entered the hall. On to business. You have your audience. Make your case. It's not the first time I've spoken in front of a group of strangers, not by a long shot. Even so, under dozens of fairy eyes, I flutter of nervousness. Ridiculous, just because I'm the only agent for miles facing a powerful supernatural creature. What is there to need to be worried about? I clear my throat softly and begin. Lord Orion, I've been dispatched from London Branch upon request from Albert Knight, guardian of the Belchester Gate. We've received reports that, well, in a word, that you're expanding. Expanding? Moving beyond your borders, attempting to create settlements in the mundane realm. A titter of amusement runs through the assembled crowd. Does your mundane realm forbid expansion? Is there a law against this? There isn't. Then why do you... He pauses, letting the moment draw out. One of his ambassadors jumps at the chance. Why bother a man like Lord Orion with these trifles? If there is no law, you have no power. That's the way of you mundane ones, is it not? Another round of laughter, louder this time. Orion cuts it to silence with a glare. I am speaking, Lord Angus. My sincerest apologies, my lord. For a moment, my hair stands on end, reacting to the electric charge in the air like the sky before a storm. A question, Agent. You say there is no law against those of our realm crossing into the mundane. Not as such, but you have ruled a long time, have you not? He inclines his head, not answering. Then you know that there are just as many unwritten rules as written. The pub has a duty to maintain a veil of secrecy over the existence of the realms, yours and others. Supernatural creatures exist quietly across all mundane. Much of my work involves managing them. You know as well as I do that large groups might not be forbidden, but they are strongly discouraged. If you are doing this, you need to stop. A very faint look plays at the corner of his eyes. And if I do not? Then the Parallel Universes Bureau will have to get involved in the matter officially. You are not here officially? I allow myself a smile. Believe it or not, this is my vacation. What an odd choice. Well... I mean, yeah, no, she was told she is a workaholic, but I'll go with it wasn't my choice. Taking this on actually means I have less work. How terrible for you. While Orion considers, another speaks. Is that all you have, human? Vague allegations. Where is your proof? Proof is that what I'm here to find, Lady Violet. If this is all a misunderstanding, we can come to an understanding, and then we could, there would be an ideal conclusion. So you're wasting our Lord's time over nothing. This is outrageous. Thank you, Lady Violet. Despite what some may think, I can express my own opinions. Violet falls silent, or at least drops to a low mutter. If these are your aims, human, I'm afraid I must disappoint you. You will find nothing because there is nothing. How do you mean? My domain is large, filled with countless creatures. I cannot control every single being, civilized or wild, under my rule. If there have been these movements, then they are acting independently. It has nothing to do with me. They're your people. How does it have nothing to do with you? Come now, Albert, don't play the fool. Albert's jaw clenches as Orion's tone dips to it with honeyed irony. Do you hold me accountable for the growth of every plant, the falling of every branch? I am not a god. We're not talking about one or two slipping through the cracks, Orion. These are encampment settlements, for God's sake, where they could be discovered by humans. And that means supplies, planning. Hell, most of them are trying to come through the gate. Albert's fist clenched so hard, I fear he'll break the skin. Don't you dare pretend this isn't your doing. Albert. Eyes wild and bright, barely hearing his name, Albert turns to look at me. The intensity I see tells me he's in no state to think clearly, which means I'll have to state our case. I understand what you are saying, Lord Orion. Holding you accountable for every being would be unreasonable, and we strive to never be unreasonable. He cocks his head, slowly raising one eyebrow. If you can understand that, you can understand the further implications of Albert's protest. He has his duties, as you have yours. I am intimately aware of the knight's duties. Then you know it's in your interest to cooperate. Your domain flourishes thanks to the secrecy that the pub, Albert, and you all strive to maintain together. If that's broken, you have more attention on your people, more knowledge, more threats, and are going to risk the peace of your court over whatever this is. He can't deny that. I see his brow lower, unable to turn away from the flat reality of the consequences laid out. None of us want extra troubles if they can be avoided. That's true, no matter which realm you're from. Orion hears out of my response with implacable calm. My answer is the same. Gate or crack, their movements are their own. Whatever your fevered imagination has dreamed up has nothing to do with me. Are you saying you can't do anything to stop them? I can. Now that this has been brought to my attention. He raises a hand, and his voice is a proclamation. Hear me, all those under the rule of Lord Orion of the Deep Woods, Daysward, Knight's Guide, hear me. I shall not allow travel through the gate. Move as you must, but know that retribution against those who defy my wishes shall be swift and severe. The lesser members of the court and servants begin buzzing. He may have only addressed the room, but I'm sure word will travel rapidly. Satisfied. He doesn't wait for my answer before rising from his throne. The room is silent as he crosses the floor and extends his slender hand to me. For now. I take his hand, a zap of static electricity stings my fingers when we shake. Good. A long table covered with glossy silk tablecloth, laden with treats, has been laid out near the windows. He gestures to it as he turns on a heel, striding back to his throne. You may stay if you please. We have plenty of food to share. Chatter and laughter fill the air the moment he finishes speaking, lending the audience hall an immediate party atmosphere. Albert stands silently outraged at my side. I think we got what we wanted. He said he'd stop them. You don't believe him, do you? I believe two things. People are chattier over a meal, and I'm hungry. Albert does not join me as I fill a plate with fruit, meat, and cheese. Each bite is ridiculously delicious, like a childhood memory of a beloved meal. While I eat, I watch the crowds. The blonde ambassador, Rowan, corners Albert the second he's free. Glim is pouring wine for Lady Violet, and Orion remains on his throne, watching the proceedings just as I am. Who should I approach? Well, there's 100 diamonds. Oh, God. First and foremost, Albert and Rowan. The corner of the hall affords the two men a little privacy. I settle closer, pretending to examine the decorations until I can overhear their conversation. I'm not telling you again, Rowan. I can't answer you any more clear than I already have. Oh, come now. We both know you're just blowing hot air. It's evident in Albert's scoff and Rowan's grin that this isn't a first meeting. You think I can't tell? You brought another human. If you were that desperate, you could have just come to me. Drop it. Albert clenches his fists and glares, causing Rowan to burst into laughter. The face of yours. I love seeing that fury. Rowan sets a hand on Albert's shoulder. To my surprise, Albert doesn't shrug it off. Just think about it. That's all I ask. I've thought about it. The answer is still no. Think about it properly. What the hell is properly? Seriously, at length, balance all the benefits and drawbacks. Rowan's eyes snap over to the corner and making me start. You didn't say you were bringing a spy, Albert. I'm not. Albert turns to look at me as I join their conversation, as efforts to calm down from Rowan's provocations, mild as they are, seem considerable. Isla Rowan, ambassador to those who gallop, as you heard. A pleasure. Rowan kisses my hand and kisses it in a low bow before I react. What a shame to hide such beauty away. You should be on that throne. I'll tell Orion you said that. Don't you dare. He releases me, satisfied to have gotten his reaction. A step back allows him to regard Albert and me, fingers touching lightly against his chin. Quite a pair you two make. Appropriate, considering we were just speaking of beauty. Shut your mouth before I break it, Rowan. Can I not admire? You agree, don't you? With what? Albert, of course. He's as handsome as you are beautiful, isn't he? You don't have to answer that. He's not bad. Albert coughs and turns sharply to me. What? See, you should have more confidence, Albert. Quiet, Rowan, and, thank you. That's very nice of you to say. I shrug casually, fiercely suppressing the embarrassment this attention causes. Why on earth did I say that? It's called being honest. He doesn't look half bad. Albert appreciated that. You too, of course. You, look very nice. Oh, thank you. Taken aback, objectively, neither admission is surprising, but when you say it out loud, I feel my cheeks heat up. What are we, teenagers? Look at these two lovebirds. Shut it, Rowan. Teasing breaks the tension. I silently thank God, more than willing to take Rowan's under the breath laughter over the horribly awkward silence. Anyway, does that answer your question? Thoroughly. A tinkling trio of voices calls for Rowan from the other side of the room, and he reacts with a dramatic sigh and a sag of his shoulders. Ah, my adoring public needs me. I'm afraid I'll have to, love you and leave you. Wow, okay, the jovial brightness drops all at once. Rowan gives Albert a serious look. Think about it. You never know when it might come in handy. And then he's off to the next group. Albert slumps as soon as he's gone, wiping his brow with his forearm. That guy never quits. What was all that about? He's just been trying to talk me into something for a while now. Something? Will this affect the case? No, definitely not. He sighs and shifts against the wall, idly rubbing his cheek. We've known each other since I first became a knight. He's a lot friendlier than the other noble Fae. Always had time for a kid. took an interest. You can't trust any of them. They all have their plans, but I like to think he's at least a friend. The word friend on his tongue sounds like a vital component is missing. Albert looks out at the court, thronging with fairies lost in thought. It's not a conversation for right now, okay? Okay. The matter has made him withdraw into a thoughtful silence. I leave him be and return my attention to the hall at large. Glim and Violet. I find Glim in a surprising position. Her head bows subserviently, filling Lady Violet's wine glass. The moment she's done, she steps back and away. Thank you, Glim. That will be all for now. When she lifts her head and notices me, the pixie's expression brightens into a wide smile. Oh, hello again. Hey, Glim. Am I, interrupting? Violet looks between us over the rim of her glass. Are you two acquainted? Only briefly. I bumped into Glim on my way here. So that's where you fluttered off to. Violet cups her glass with 2 fingers, the very picture of a domineering queen. Look at you, befriending the servants before greeting the lords and ladies. What a woman of the people. Her stare is cold and her tone colder. I had no idea Glim was an attendant in Orion's court when we met. A smirk stretches cat-like over her beautiful face. There's no need to play coy. I know you came over to talk to me. She's just your excuse. Really? Well, you are full of yourself. Glim's face crumbles. I know that once again I'm being tested. You may think that. Okay, I do see the difference between the icons. And you'd be right, it would be a broken heart. But I wanted to speak to Glim as a whole heart. And the other one is, aren't you their ambassador, which means kind of like efficiency. Okay, I understand the icons. But I wanted to speak to Glim. Really? I nod. Violet looks like she just sucked a lemon. Some people have no taste. You're quite right, some don't. My polite smile gives her no opening for a return fire. I see the frustration well up and release with an aggravated sigh. See that she doesn't slack on her duties. It's my reputation that will suffer if she shirks. And then she's gone, stalking across the wall to speak to Lord Angus. Glim was touched by your consideration. Yeah, no, I don't like D-bags. Thanks for that. Glim quickly dashes away, the beginning of a teardrop, and pulls herself bravely together. Sorry about her. Lady Violet is... Glim dithers for a bit before letting the thought drop. She's passionate. She fights very hard for us pixies. Best not to delve into that subject too deeply. I gently change the subject. So, you work here? Yes, I'm the personal attendant of Lord Orion. She anticipates what I'm about to say before I say it, her eyes wide and alarmed. I wasn't spying on you or anything. It really was a coincidence that we met. I'm glad we did, though. If I'd seen you for the first time meeting Lord Orion, I'd never known how nice you were. I smile in response. The court is indeed full of servants and nobles, both fairies, brownies, pixies, even 1 or 2 centaurs, all either serving or being served. Quite an electric court Lord Orion has raised. How has it always been like this? As long as I've known, Lord Orion had already been our ruler for a long time when I was born. How long is a long time, exactly? She bobs her shoulders. Somehow, even the shrugging motions seem cheerful coming from her. A while. Not all creatures bother with our human conceptions of time, and chronologically, it's not so strange. Though it's always a bit surprising to encounter. He's very interested in you, you know. You're the first new face we've had around here in a long time. Oh, that's intriguing. Tell me more. Oh. She leans in conspiratorially, lowering her voice to a stage whisper. What do you want to know about? You've worked for him for a long time, have you? Oh yes, it's been so much fun. That takes me by surprise. It has. Running errands and doing chores all day for how many years? That's fun. Yes, I get to talk to and help out so many different people. Lady Violet takes such good care of us, and Lord Orion is so strong. I'm really happy I get to attend to them. It's only fair. They do so much for us. I should do something for them, too. It's simplicity, so pure as to be shocking. The actual work doesn't appear to even enter her mind. I'm struck, as occasionally am, by the sheer difference between mundane and the supernatural. It does sound like you have a very high opinion of them, even Lady Violet. Glim's nose crinkles non-committally. Nature puts thorns on roses for a reason. An apt metaphor. I'm still thinking it over when she giggles quietly. It's so nice having someone new to talk about all this with. I hope we get to talk a lot more. Unfortunately, the time I can spend with her nears its end. Let's talk more later, alright? There's a lot I'd like to know. Of course. She sees me off with a bright smile and a wave as I return to the hall proper. Lord Orion. Approaching a lord on his throne is a bold move. I feel every gaze Orion's more than anyone. His attention shifts from surveying the room to focusing laser-like on me alone. Do you have more to say? Not officially. I thought we might talk a little off the record. He straightens in his chair. The severe expression relaxes into a cat-like smile. By all means. What did you want to talk about? It's a good question. This is one of those times I sense when it's best to just act on instinct. You, for a start. It would be helpful for my investigation to separate the man from the myth. Orion is very good at those long, steady stares that make you think that he knows every little thing about you. Problem is, so am I. Knowledge is power, is it not what you humans say? The treatment of the brownie has affected the plot. That firm hand of yours impressed me, though I can't say the little fella felt the same. Belatedly, I realize he means the brownie who had been digging into my bins last night. Do you mean Colin? I'd do the same for anybody trying to spy on me. I have no doubt you would. The admiring glint in his eye is more than a little confusing. But never mind the common folk, tell me. How do you feel standing before a lord? There's a note of taunting in his voice. He'll be waiting a long time if he wants a reaction out of me, though. Now there's the question. My answer would be... it's not that impressive. Ooh, who says you're my first lord? Yeah, who says you're my first lord? Am I or not? Speak plainly, human. Well, I've met lords before through my work, but none of them lord over anything. They're just rich men with titles. A few moments pass while he digests and processes this information, and then quietly he laughs. You dance with words as well as any fairy. If that is what you mean, then no, you have not met a lord before. He straightens on his throne to his full regal bearing. Now you have. Standing here, I do feel very much like a serf before a feudal lord. His power and influence and as yet are mysteries. Though, judging from Albert's words, it's safe to say he's a great deal stronger than he appears. As I look to him, sizing him up, he looks at me in return. Yes, I was right. He gestures to my clothing. This is far more flattering attire than whatever it is you humans insist on wearing. There is no beauty in those rags. I was wearing my uniform? It's not supposed to be beautiful. Everything should be beautiful. What is the point of life if not to appreciate and elevate beauty? He looks past me to Albert, noticeably apart from the crowd. We watch as a pixie attendant approaches and is curtly turned away. Just look at him. A sword arm, nothing more. My tactful silence attracts his attention. Well, all these accusations and edicts are so dull. Surely you must agree that life is meant to be dedicated to finer things. I lightly fold my arms, each cradling my elbows. That's the thing about the finer things, Lord Orion. They can't exist without the invisible hand of the common man. This court, could it run without servants, without builders, farmers, plumbers, and workers? Are they lesser because they don't have the freedom or the interest to pursue art, like you? He smirks, his chin is back to being propped, bored on a fist. You think me a bore? I don't know what I think yet. Transparent lies, your sharp mind. You must have some opinion. Well, you're a capable leader. Not that I have had time to canvass everyone, but those I've spoke to think well of you. Even your companion. Albert isn't one of your subjects. So his opinion does not count. It counts, just not in this case. His brows rise, waiting for me to go on. It's not exactly the same, but in my experience, the best manager is one whom the workers want to work for. He or she keeps them supplied and supported, and in return, they work even harder. Not too permissive, not too strict. Trust is given, trust is returned. I think you're doing that for your people. He leans back on his throne, momentarily absorbed in thought. You speak truly. Fear, loyalty must be stoked in equal measure. Too much of one and the other withers. His serious expression cracks into a sudden smirk. He's intrigued by your views. A well-considered view for one from the mundane. It's a goading comment that I don't rise to any further than a simple shrug. Some things are the same everywhere. All at once, the mask falls back over his features, his gaze once more amidst the glassy distance of power. Thank you for this discussion. You may go back to mingling. Right. That's a final word if I've ever heard one. I step down and away, back to the floor of the hall. Nobody. Time ticks on. I can see we're not going to learn anything more. It feels like leaving a party right now when it's in full swing, but that's exactly what I must do, no matter how low, or how this low, bitter feeling in my chest compels me to stay. Albert is easy to find. Standing apart from the crowd, I come up and lightly tap his elbow. We're done here. Let's get going. He nods and makes his excuses. We're nearly at the door when Orion suddenly calls out, his voice clear and cutting across the hubbub. Leaving so soon? I turn slowly and wear my friendliest smile. I'm afraid so. Thank you very much for seeing us, Lord Orion. Come. Stay. Drink and enjoy. No, I'm sorry. We must go. I grab Albert's arm and walk us out of there quickly. Orion's eyes, the eyes of the whole court, burn my back as we flee. We walk in silence until we reach the gate. Albert immersed in his thoughts and me in mine. Not until we step onto the bridge that he finds the words he's evidently been searching for. Sorry for wasting your time, Isla. He glances around, picking absently at the moss between two bridge stones. We should be able to talk freely now. What did you think of it all? Not much, to be honest with you. I see why you mistrust Orion. He's a politician, never saying all that he means. It is likely that he's trying something, or at least playing ignorant, letting things happen, but as it stands, there's nothing I can do. We look at each other sadly. I'm terribly conscious of the beautiful fairy gown clinging to my finger. He said he'll prohibit travel through the gate. He said that he didn't know anything about it before that. It's a big domain. He rolls over, and that ignorance is reasonable. But he's still doing it. I know he is. There's no law against it, Albert. Larger settlements are discouraged, but I have no way to stop him, especially not when he's already said he'll do something about it. Albert says, his jaw, eyes blazing. You can't possibly want it to end here. Of course I didn't want it to end. I'm surrounded by magic, wearing beautiful clothing, meeting fairy princes, living every one of my girlhood fantasies. To have it lose it in one brief afternoon, the disappointment is too great to bear. Nothing lasts forever, Albert. I have a job to do. And bear the burden I must. There's a bad taste in my mouth as we step through the gate. I examine myself once we return through the portal. My clothes are back, just as if they had never left. The woods are still lovely, fresh, peaceful, compared to what I know lies just beyond that portal, though. Well, that's that. Sorry I can help more. It's all right. It isn't, we both know it. The truth remains unspoken while we turn our steps homeward. Even in the mundane, you must find the beauty. Albert walks me all the way to the door of my cottage. Don't feel like you have to leave right away. Stay for the weekend. Take an actual vacation. That's very nice of you to offer. But I can't. My case is the people who need me. They can't wait. No matter how much that part of me screams to stay. I'm a grown woman. I can't listen to my inner child anymore. I have responsibilities that don't fit with the charming little villages or the fairy forests. Albert saves me from an overt refusal by answering first. I'll accompany you to the train station. It's been a long walk today, so let me carry your things, all right? Thank you. I glance through the door to the lovely little cottage Albert had so kindly arranged for me. My suitcase sits on the bed, barely unpacked, a glaring symbol of my lost chance at life and joy. Give me 20 minutes to gather my things, and then we can go. By the time we reach the station, I've gathered myself. Still disappointed, still unaccountably sad, but composed enough to maintain professionalism. You have my direct line. Give me a call if anything changes. I'll report this directly to my superiors. In the meantime, if Orion does anything we can move on, we'll be sure to step in. Thank you, Isla. He hands me my bags with heart-breaking finality. Want me to wait with you? The next train won't be here for another hour. It's all right. I have some other work that needs catching up on. It takes all my will not to linger. I turn and climb the first steps to the train station. One, then another. And suddenly resistance. Immense resistance. The air pushes me like a physical force and I tumble, landing hard on the street. Flashbang. Isla! Albert is crouched at my side in an instant. You heard? What happened? I don't know. He helps me to my feet. Much more tentatively, I climb the steps and again meet that resistance. My whole body's repelled, like trying to walk into gale force wind. Something's stopping me from passing through. Trying a few different spots produces the same effect. When I try to brute force my way through, my muscles ache and my mind screams with such intensity that I'm sprawling onto the ground once more. Ugh. Slowly, I sit up, clutching my throbbing head. Albert, what's going on here? Has this happened before? Not to my knowledge. As Albert helps me to my feet, a man in a green sweater approaches the station. He passes without incident, pausing only to flick a narrow-eyed glance at Albert before disappearing into the building. What on earth? Albert tries to climb the stairs to the station. He, too, moves through without any trouble. Strange. It certainly is. You really have no idea what's going on. He stands there for a bit, thinking hard, and his hand goes in his pocket to retrieve his phone. Let's go to the pub. We need an expert opinion. He picks up my suitcase from where it had fallen and sets off back down the road. I follow, not that there's any choice in the matter. A part of me, a small part, feels utterly, shamefully happy. Looks like I'm not going home after all. Belchester, the Plough. The normalcy of the pub is a shock to the system after today's strangeness. Albert finds us a table away from any other patrons. What are you drinking, Isla? Oh, yes, I'll have a juice. I don't drink. You know what? Yeah, why not? Right. I nip to the bathroom while he's busy putting in an order. After a long walk and all the day's surprises, my hair's in desperate need of some maintenance. She's just able to go to the bathroom and just boom, high bun, boom, braids. Oh my god. Bro, imagine you like saw her, right? And then she comes out of the bathroom with the braids. He's gonna look at her and be like, is this the magic? Like, what? I'm gonna go with this, but I really want to go back to my normal hairstyle. It just does not fit her, I'm just saying. I return to find the barman, a young, friendly-looking man with a mop of blonde hair. Standing near our table, he smiles at my appearance. Hello there! You're a new face, aren't you? So it would seem. My manners aren't where they should be right now. He doesn't seem to mind. Well, if nobody said it, welcome to Belchester. My name's Locke. The twang of his accent is unmistakable. Despite my worries, Locke's presence is comforting. What's more British than an Australian behind the bar? Crikey, mate, doing... I'm not doing an Australian accent. Shut up. Crikey, you want to go down under and grab a pint, do you? Just thought I'd come over and give a proper hello. It's rare that Albert comes by with anyone else. Anybody else? Well, anybody new? Locke glances at the door with a worried smile. Is... soon. I slip into my seat and sip my drink. It's incredibly refreshing, reminding me just how much distance I've covered since I got up this morning. God, my feet. Do you hike this much every day? More, usually. And faster. How do you manage it? Regular training, healthy habits. The Knight's family has always been a bit stronger than most. He looks down into his pint reflectively. Something in our bloodline. I don't know whether we got the job because of it or it came with the job, but it's all the same. Albert gives me a short nod, and when I glance questioningly at Locke, we might not be able to talk freely, but this man apparently is safe enough. Past him, I see a few men glaring in our direction from the bar. I think you've got customers waiting, Locke. Oh, right. Sorry, I'd better... He hurries off, and I can hear the customers' responses from here, complaining about him hanging around. Well, I won't repeat what language they use. Safe to say, they're not fans. Why are they hating on this guy so much? I'm serious. Now that it's brought to my attention, I see it. All the empty nearby tables are empty. Every stair is cold. The entire pub, save for Locke, is giving us a wide berth. Are you always this popular? Believe it or not, this is a good night. Probably because you're here. He doesn't bother to disguise the bitterness in his voice. Locke seemed friendly enough. He's about the only one, and he has his reasons. What reasons? Albert checks his phone and smirks. You'll see in a minute. Let me guess, that girl from earlier? 30 seconds later, the pub door swings open. Nettie strides uncaring through the field, glares, and takes a seat at our table. I got your message. What's happening? I quickly recap everything that occurred for Nettie. With each new event, her expression grows darker, more serious. That's no good. What do you think it is? Nettie leans back in her chair and sinks into thought. While she does, Locke, who perked up the second she came in the door, hurries over. Nettie! Hey, how are you? Fine. That's cool. I saw you the other day and it... Well, anyway. He sets down a cocktail in front of her. Gin spritz. I remember what you said about it last time, and I've been practicing, so yeah, I hope you like it. Nettie picks up the drink and takes a sip. Her attention remains in the middle of distance until she swallows, smacking her lips lightly. The flavor balance is right. You got a different brand of juice? No brand. Freshly squeezed by yours truly. I can feel Locke's nerves from here. When Nettie looks at him, she shoots a quick, tight half smile. He nearly sags from relief. You're improving. It's a really nice cocktail. Thank God for that. He jerks a thumb back to the bar. Already the rumor mill has started up again. I'll be over there if you need another one. Nettie nods. Locke returns to the bar with a much lighter step and a much brighter smile. Nice fellow. He seems... Head over heels, yeah. Locke's had it bad for Nettie from the first day he came to town. Leave her alone, Albert. Do you not like him? These are hard-hitting questions here. Leave her alone, Albert. If she doesn't want to talk about it, don't force her. Finally, someone with some sense. With pressure off, she opens up a little more. I like him fine, he's nice, I just don't want to talk about it. That's perfectly fine with me. You're no fun at all. It's totally irrelevant to the matter at hand, but I think we're all eager to ignore reality for a moment, myself included. My glass is empty sooner than I expected. I ponder my next move. Go to the bar. I could use another drink, excuse me. You're our guest. Let me get it for you. Thank you, but I'll be fine for this round. Nettie smirks into her drink, having clearly picked up what Albert missed. I cross the floor to the bar and wait for Locke to be free. Oh, hi again. What do you have? Just water, thank you. I'm parched. Coming right up. Water? I would never. I lean against the bar, taking in my surroundings while he fills the order. The smooth wood floors, quaint decorations feel too like a return to an earlier period of history. What brings you to Belchester anyway? Business. With Albert? The mere mention of his name provokes a grumble from nearby patrons. Locke shoots me an apologetic look. It's just surprising. I wouldn't have thought a churchyard groundskeeper would have anybody paying business calls. It's not about the church. This is more of a side hustle, I think is the term. Oh, one of those. Have you known each other for a while? About a day and a half now. Really? Only that long? This is all getting a little too close to confidential information for my comfort. I glance at my watch, double-check that Sammy is safely hidden away, and change the subject. When did you start working here? Nearly 2 years ago now. The Plow's a great pub. Everybody knows each other, and there's not too many troublemakers. I notice a workman, hunched over his pint, climb off his stool and walk to a table, not without firing a glare at me first. Yes, I'm getting that impression. Don't judge them too harshly. I don't even know what I'd be judging them for. Being rude. We'll go with rude. Locke sets my drink down in front of me. I take a sip, pondering the rows of bottles behind the bar. Can I ask why people have such a problem with Albert, or is it just too forward for a first meeting? Oh, it's not too forward. Honestly, I'm pretty confused about it myself. Locke glances at the table where Albert and Nettie are sitting. I mean, you hear a lot of stuff. He's an eccentric guy, but I think mostly they've got a problem with the night allowance. The what now? I don't know the details. I guess he gets paid a lot for groundskeeper. His family's always done the job, and they have a problem with some guy getting paid that much to mow lawns. Well, then why don't they mow the damn lawns? Do you know how much it is? Enough to pay Nettie a full-time wage and keep himself comfy. At the mention of her name, Locke grows immediately nervous. Speaking of 2-4, did she, mention me at all, Nettie? I'm afraid not. Yeah, that's what I figured. It's not my place to say, but it's really obvious, I know, she's just so beautiful and smart and driven. Nettie hasn't looked in our direction once, busy with her phone and talking to Albert in profile. I certainly see the appeal. She doesn't care what anyone thinks. People shun her because she hangs out with Albert. Doesn't bother at all. I wish I could be that independent. His hand drags through his hair. Look, you're probably gonna get that too if you're with Albert. It's kind of unavoidable, but if you have those two on your side, you'll be fine. He jabs a thumb towards himself and grins. Come by the plow any time. You've got one friend here at least. Thank you. I take my drink back to the table, filling mutters and glares the whole way. He's right about that. We'll need every ally we can get in a crowd like this. Albert greets me with a smile when I sat back down. Made a new friend? Seems like it. Very friendly boy. Isn't he? Sweet as pie. Can you two please drop it? This is secondary school all over again. Okay. Sorry. Yes, we'd better focus on the task at hand. Finally. Nettie takes another sip and sets the glass down. He really does make a good drink, though. Anyway, give me your hand. I'm surprised, but offer her my hand. She turns my arm wrist up, holds her fingers on my pulse, and she lifts the stone hanging from her necklace and peers through the hole in the stone directly at me. What are you... This is a hagstone. They're talismans of protection against hexes, curses, negative spirits. Working where we do, it's important to defend yourself. Our rings, too. Iron. Fairies are repelled by them. I look at Nettie and Albert's hands. She's right. They're both wearing iron rings. Nettie's a woven band. Albert's thicker and marked with symbols. Just little bits of protection so they can't take advantage of us. Hackstones have one other feature, too. You can see fairy magic if you look through the hole. And let me guess. Orion cast a spell on you so you wouldn't be able to leave. She draws her gaze up along my arm, over my body, and up to my face. It's not unlike the clinical precision of the doctor's examination. Eventually, when she's satisfied, she lowers the talisman. Thought so. You've been hexed. Hexed by a witch? By a fairy. I can't tell you the exact details from just one look, but there's magic all over you. She leans back, folding her arms, and thinks better of it, and tips back the rest of her cocktail. From what you've described, I suspect you're under some sort of gas. A magical compulsion, in this case, one forbidding you from leaving Belchester. But why? Who would want to trap me here? Albert had taken the chair with his back to the wall, facing the door, a protective measure, I assume, considering his unpopularity in the village. Because of that, I only hear the pub door open. Albert's expression darkens and thunders. A shadow falls over me, tall and lean. I turn in my seat to suppress a startled yelp. Hello, Orion. The man who joins our table looks different without his wings, less magical, but no less powerful. I can take a guess. I look into Orion's eyes. He greets me with a long, slow smile. I think I can guess, too. Alright, complete episode. Alright, so we got 2 empathy, 1 efficiency, 1 expertise, and diamonds. After spending like hundreds. Anyway. Alright, so it looks like there's also an episode 3. you got what you wanted. Is it a gift or a curse? So, without further ado, like, share, and subscribe if you actually did enjoy the content that I provide. And, the reading, the voices, etc. Leave a comment down below letting me know your thoughts. But aside from that, yeah, super long, super, I guess I want to say tons of information, quality, reading material. Wasn't too bad. So far, I'm still just as vested and interested in it as I was in Chapter 1. So, again, let me know your thoughts down below. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Catch you all later. Peace out.